Today's lesson is going to be on how to make a graph from all your data that you did on the prey versus predator assignment. First thing we're going to do though is we're going to first of all open up your Google Drive account. So go ahead and do that. So we have this screen that we have here, and you'll notice that it'll have a rectangle called Create. You're going to click that once, and when you do that, you'll have all of these options, and we're going to be using the spreadsheet. So I want you to scroll down to the spreadsheet and you click it once, and then what will happen is you should be getting a blank spreadsheet. It's called Google Sheets, and when you have that launched and then it's building it, you should have all of these columns and rows, and notice it says Untitled. We're going to click that once. Let's make it twice, I guess. There we go. And then what you're going to do now is you're going to give it a title. I'm going to title mine Prey. And I'll wait for it to load. There we go. Versus Predator graph. So press OK, and now we're ready to start. Now, with all these columns and rows, you can kind of start anywhere you like. I'm going to go ahead and start right here on B3. And I'm going to first of all type generations. These are all the generations that you did during the activity. Generations, all right. And then I'm just going to put 1 through 20 because those are all the different generations. Now some of you didn't get through all 20. Some of you had 10, 12, or what have you. So I'm just going to put 1, and then 2, and 3, and so on until we get to 20. So give me a second and I will finish this up. And as you're doing that, make sure you also have it oriented the same way that I do, so that your graph will turn out in the right order. And as I go down, finishing up, remember I'm going to stop at however many generations you guys pulled off, whether it be 10, whether it be 12, whether it be 18, whatever it might be. I went ahead and did mine on 20. Now over here, you had two populations you were looking at. You're looking at the prey versus the predator. And as you were catching the rabbits with your spoons, which ended up being the coyotes, what you're going to do is you're going to put prey here. So that'll be the rabbit number. As a matter of fact, let's just go put rabbits on this. And then the coyote, or the predator. So, and I went ahead and just copied those numbers off of my sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and paste them back on here, and there are the numbers. Those are the numbers that we generated when we did it. So you're going to have to kind of put in yours just like that, and that's really all your table looks like. So you can create the table off of your worksheet, and now you're ready to make the chart. It's relatively easy to do. So all you're going to do on this one, I'm going to go ahead and capture generations and everything else, even though you could actually just copy these just all by themselves and do that. But I also want to make sure that I have an extra axis to label when I'm doing my graph. So I'm going to do all of them. So I'm going to copy all of those, or I'm going to highlight all of those. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to where it says Edit. Or excuse me, Insert. So we're going to go over there where it says Insert. I'm going to click it once, and then I'm going to move down to Chart. So what I've done is I've highlighted my graph, or excuse me, my table, and then I went over to Insert, and then I go all the way down to Chart, and I press it, and there is the chart editor. Now you'll notice right now that it has this this area graph, and that is kind of helpful to me, so you can see the comparison between the rabbits and the coyotes. Here you can see that there's kind of a phase shift, and if you run your mouse over it, you can kind of see the numbers, and it gives you an idea of how it looks. But I really don't want that, so I'm going to click More, and then I want you to do a line graph. So you click on Line Graph. And the smooth line is the one I choose. You could use just a regular line graph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click the smooth line graph. And now that's what it's going to look like. But notice that the generations graph or line has appeared. I'm going to get rid of that. But what I really wanted to do is I want to get the horizontal axis title in there. And if I didn't highlight that, I won't get that. And that's not a problem. I just wanted that axis there. So I'm going to say insert. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let me move this out of the way. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of editing on it. So one of the first things I would like to do is I'd like to get rid of this. So I'm going to click it once. And then I'm going over to the series colors. And I'm just going to get rid of that color. I don't want it highlighted at all, so I'm going to hit none. And that goes away. But I still have this generation. I really can't get rid of that, but that's not for me, that's not a big deal. So now what I'm going to do is click this, and I'm just going to, you can put rabbits versus coyotes. I'm just going to put prey versus predator. And then I'm going to click return on my keyboard. And there it goes. Now if you want to just call it the graph, you can just go ahead and add graph and do the same thing again. And it's ready. So click outside of it. Now I've got that done. Now that I've got the graph kind of the way I want it, now I'm going to go ahead and look at the axis. So I'm going to click on this one, and this one really, if you take a look, it was from 0 to 80, and that really is telling us a little bit about what were the numbers of individuals, or you could say the population of rabbits, or the population of coyotes. But I'm going to just put, number of individuals. And that's that, I'm going to hit return, and that will just give me at least enough of information so I know what goes on. As a matter of fact, when this is active, you can actually go on, and I'll show you in a second. When you press, or actually when you run this over top of it, it'll show you the actual numbers. So I'm going to click over here on the horizontal axis, and that's going to be the generations from 1 to 20 or 1 to 12 or whatever it might be, although we don't have the hash marks on it. I'm just going to put right here generations. You could also put years, and I'm going to hit return. So now what I have is this graph that tells me a lot of things about our lab that we did. Like for instance, when the rabbit population is up here, notice where the coyotes are. So they have a phase shift, and that phase shift will also tell us about what the number of predators or prey is in this particular ecosystem. So if I want to just quickly look at it, I'm going to view mode, which is the little eyeball right here. And if you hold it over top, the mouse, you can see that it's 46 rabbits when it kind of peaked there. And then over here, there was only 2 coyotes. So when we get over here, we have 68 rabbits. And then over here, it was like 3 coyotes. So you can see there's about a 1 to 20, 1 to 10 ratio. And they're kind of phased a little, the coyotes are a little phased to the right. So that can give you an idea. Now what I'm going to do next is I want to put this graph in a particular place. So I'm going to click over here, and then I'm going to move it to its own sheet. So when I do that, it disappears. If you go right down to the bottom of the page, bottom of your screen, notice here's the sheet with all the numbers, the table, and then over here is the chart. So now what you've done is created this graph from the table. Now what do you do with this? Well, the second part of the assignment is to take the graph, put it in a doc, and then explain what this says to the best of your ability. So I'm going to click copy chart, and click that once. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a Google Doc. So I'm going to go back to my drive. I'm using, as you can see, I'm using the tabs on the Google browser. And then I'm going to hit create. I'm going to go to document. And then I'm going to click untitled document. And then I'm going to put prey. You can call it anything you want, just so it's kind of descriptive. And predator, oops, predator assignment. And press OK. And now what I can do is I can just go to edit. I'm going to paste now the graph. Give it a second or two, and when it does that, Then you can resize it to make it look a little bit bigger and amplified. There we go. And I'm going to now I can just start typing the explanation of it. And don't forget to click, and you're going to share it. And just put in your teacher's or your instructor's email. Make sure it has the can edit function, and then send it. I'm just going to cancel that. And then hit click done, and that's it. So I hope I've helped you put all of these things together. Keep this video handy so you can stop it and watch it, and then maybe reverse it, because it is at first kind of difficult. The whole, of course, insert chart, and then of course make it its own sheet and a variety of other things. So I hope that's helped, and we'll see you in the lab. Thanks.